All right, the chair now recognizes the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Green, ranking member of our Oversight and Investigation Subcommittee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank the ranking member, and of course I thank the august body of witnesses who have appeared today. In my years on the committee, I don't think I've seen quite the number of financial stability heads assembled at one time for purposes of questioning. So I thank you for being here. Mr. Woodall, much has been made of the fact that you are the only person on the FSOC with insurance expertise. Incidentally, is that the only area that you claim expertise in? Do you claim expertise in other areas to this extent?
I'll say being on the council is a learning experience. They're learning about insurance and I'm learning about banking.
So you don't claim expertise in banking, but you are learning about it. Mr. Woodall, based upon what has been said, there seems to be an implication or an indication that only persons with insurance expertise should judge an insurance company. And I ask this because MetLife has appealed its case in the sense that it has filed in a district court in the District of Columbia, federal district court. Do you think that judge ought to be an insurance expert to hear the MetLife case?
I'm not going to make any statements about the MetLife appeal.
I understand. Well, I'll continue to ask you questions, and you continue to have no response. Do you think that the jurors who will hear the MetLife case, if we do have a panel of jurors, do you think that they all have to have insurance expertise?
Of course not.
Of course not. In fact, across the length and breadth of this country on a daily basis, we have jurors who are ordinary, everyday working people who hear complex cases involving antitrust, billions of dollars. In Texas, we had the Pennzoil case, lots of lay people there hearing a case. People hear these cases all the time and make life and death decisions who don't have expertise in a given area that the case happens to be focused on. Do you agree with this, Mr. Woodall?
Yes, I would say that
I think you do. Let me continue. It appears to me, Mr. Woodall, that the indication of only a person with expertise in a given area should be able to judge would lend itself to asking at least one question. Have you made any decisions with reference to banks since you've been on the FSOC?
The banking regulators are the ones that do that.
But have you voted? Have you had a vote on anything related to banks? Have you had a vote since you've been there on anything related to banks?
Not as such.
Not as such. Well, I don't have the time to drill down with that, Mr. Woodall. There is a way to get to the not as such answer, but I don't care to do it now. So you have voted as such on some things related to banks.
Well, obviously, when you get in financial market utilities.
I understand. So you have not recused yourself from issues related to banks. You voted because you're a Phi Beta Kappa from Kentucky. And as a Phi Beta Kappa from Kentucky, you can understand these banking issues, can't you?
Yes, and they can understand insurance issues.
And that leads me right to my next question. Thank you so much, Mr. Woodall. My next question is this. If you believe that a person only must have insurance expertise to sit in judgment of an insurance company on FSOC, raise your hand. If you think you only can do it if you have insurance expertise, raise your hand. Anyone? Let the record reflect none. But because I want the record to be perspicuously clear, let me ask the question another way. If you believe that you can sit in judgment of an insurance company and not be a Phi Beta Kappa from Kentucky, raise your hand, please, if you believe you can. All right, Mr. Woodall is the only person who thinks that you got to be a Phi Beta Kappa from Kentucky. I see his hand didn't go up. So, Mr. Woodall, I assume that I should now put in the record that you are a person who believes that you must be a Phi Beta Kappa from Kentucky before you can sit in judgment of an insurance company on FSOC. Should I put that in the record?
No, but I think
okay, that should go in the record. So I'm going to take it from that comment, Mr. Woodall, that you join the rest of your colleagues and that the record should show that there is unanimous consent that you don't have to be an insurance expert to sit in judgment of an insurance company.
I'm not sure what an insurance expert is.
Well, I'm glad you said it because some people have claimed that you are, so my assumption is you don't know what you are.
That's because it was put in the title.
Well, okay, well, look, Mr. Woodall, by the way, let me share this with you before I end. Mr. Woodall, I want to make this very clear. I love you. Because sometimes it can appear that I don't love people because I have to ask the tough questions. And I regret that I didn't get to some other things. But God bless you, dear brother. I love you.
Time of the gentleman has expired. The chair